Hello, everybody. Today I have a story to tell, and it's a story about a gentleman named Joe and Paula. Now, this story is something that it's happened to someone that's actually traveling to the Philippines, and actually it's a relationship. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. The story starts out, it's an American, Joe from St. Petersburg, Florida. He was born in Rochester and moved to Florida because of his job. He met a lady called Paula in Bohol about 3 years ago. Paula and Joe met online on a dating site. The site matched them online, so they had a pretty good idea. Well, Joe is 38. Joe is 58, and Paula is 38, and she has two children, a boy and a girl, 7 and 9, and a father that has been gone for at least 5 years. And Joe made multiple trips to the Philippines and to meet her and talk with her and go over things. 2 years ago, of course, he met the mom and dad, and mom and dad accepted him in the family for marriage to his daughter. His last visit was this year of June, and he said it was kind of strange. His girlfriend Paula was acting a little weird and acting the whole time he was here for the 3 months. She was acting a little like skittish and tired and didn't want to have too much to do with him. So he had a little anxiety about it, but of course the kids loved him and he loved the kids so much, and he fell in love with the kids in the 3 years they were together. So he flew back to Florida after his 3 month stay, and everything was fine. One day he got a message on his phone, and I want to say this before we go any further. Joe had been giving her about 100 a week, which is 5,000 peso a month, so 20,000 peso, a week. He's given her 20 to 25,000 a month, because he would add to it because of hospitals and school projects and things like that. So she's getting about 25 a month. And he'd been saying they bought land together also, and they bought two lots together, and where they were at, they got a deal on was 2K. They started building a house, and everything was fine. Then one day he gets a call from his girlfriend and says, "Hey, how are you?" He says, "I'm fine. I'm getting ready to go to work." And she said, "I got some bad news for you. I'm doing this because I want to make it right with you. I'm seeing someone else, and I want to let you know. And I'm sorry." And he said, "Why? What's wrong? I thought we had a great potential, a great marriage. We planned everything." He said, "We've had so many conversations," and he was just sick. He was sick over it. So he said, "Okay." After the conversation started, about 30 minutes, he said, "Can I go? I'm sick. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sick." So she said, "Fine. I'll talk to you later." So Joe did not sleep that night. He waited and waited, and he woke up the next morning early, trying to figure out what to do and what's going to happen with the house and the kids. And he said he would take care of the kids, himself. So Joe called her and says, "Hey, I realized that we need to finalize things," and she never would answer the phone. So he called her, and she never answered the phone. He texted her, texted the sister, called the sister, didn't have any other numbers than the sister and his girlfriend, fiance. So remember, he'd given her a ring because they were getting married, of course, the land and the house money. He gave her about $1,000 for just before he left for more stuff to buy for the house. He probably had about 2K plus the 2K in land so far into the house, and so they were just kind of getting started on it. And they were all saying, he was saying to himself, "What am I going to do? She's not answering the phone." They called her 2 or 3 times, and what's going to happen to the kids? So he was very worried about it. So he went to his boss and says, "Hey, I need to take off, and I need to take off. Sister's not answering the phone. Something may happen to her." And he says, "You just got back. This is putting your job on the line." He says, "I can't take it." He said, "It's my family, and I don't know what to do." So he said, "Okay, I'll give you 2 weeks off, and you come back and go to work. You're not getting no vacation because you've already had, 10 weeks counting this." So I said, okay, it's fine. So he bought tickets, another $2K out of his pocket. So he got on the plane, and 2 days later, of course, he arrived here. Time to get through all the stuff. Went to Bohol, got at 1 in the morning, ended up staying at a hotel that night because, he didn't want to deal with any hassle, any of that stuff, just really tired. Got up the next morning and got a trike and hurried towards the house where she's staying, not his land. On the way, he saw the land that they purchased, and they were working on it. So he pulled off, and they started talking to some of the workers. And the workers said, "What are you doing here? Why are you here?" He said, "I'm here looking on my house." And nobody said anything, and he stayed about a half hour, and he ended up leaving. He ended up back at the house where his girlfriend and was there with the children. Knocked on the door, and she says, "Why are you here?" Kids are screaming, "Hey, Daddy, Daddy Joe, Daddy Joe." So he said that he ran to him, a girlfriend, and this, that, and other. And then he said, "Well, I need to talk to you. We need to get some things worked out here because you didn't answer the phone. There's a lot of issues we have." So he said, "Okay." And as he's talking to him, here's something in the room. He said, "Well, who's that in your room? In our room? And the room that I slept in?" She says, "Oh, it's nothing." And then one of the kids, of course, said, "Hey, that's our other daddy." "What do you mean your other daddy?" "Oh, that's our other daddy." And the wife says, "No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." About that time, he heard him rummaging around in there. So Joe got up and went to the door. And Joe went and opened the door, and the guy was getting dressed. And it was about a 25-year-old gal. And remember, she's 38, and this guy is about 20, 25. He said he was just a young guy, young kid. But so he asked the boy, says, "Oh, is that your new daddy?" "Oh, yeah, that's my new daddy." He said, "He's here whenever you're not here." He says, "Oh, really? What do you mean?" He said, "Oh, yeah, it's been like that." So he said, "Okay, I can see the situation. You need to give me the rings, and you need to give me the money that I gave you." "Oh, it's all gone. I don't have rings. I sold them. I pawned them." He says, "It's okay. I'll see you in court." She said, "That's fine. You're not getting anything." He said, "Okay, we'll see." So he left and stopped at the barangay captain, had the tricycle driver take him to the barangay captain. Had the driver stay there the whole time. He said, "Just stay out here. I'll pay you the whole day." So the guy just sat out there because he didn't know what was going to happen. He was worried about the police coming or something too. As you know, you're a foreigner, you have to be aware of things. So he's very careful. He needed another witness also too. So he said, "Well, you're not going to give me my money. I'll just leave, and I'll see you in court." She says, "Fine, I'll see you in court." So he left and went down to barangay captain. He filed a report against her. Then the captain says, "You need to call Ralphie Tolfo." He said, "I don't know how to do that." He says, "I got his number." There's another guy here. Same thing happened to him. Not American, another Filipino. So he called Ralphie. Ralphie says, "Hey, okay." Talk to one of the agents. Agent says, "Okay, I'll have him call you." So Ralphie ended up calling him about 5 hours later. And then he told Ralphie the whole story. He stayed for 2 weeks, just basically traveled around, didn't do much of anything. Actually stayed 10 days. He ended up leaving early so he could get back to work because he's worried about his job. So as he was leaving, Paula sent him a text or two because she wouldn't talk to him on the phone and said, "This is all mine and you're not getting anything." So he said, "Okay, that's fine." So after about 3-4 months, 5 months, something, Ralph Duffel called him again, third month, in the fourth month. In the fifth month, they had a court case. He said, "You need to come here to the Philippines. I got it in front of a judge, and so we're going to go to trial." So he called him. Long story short, he went there, told his boss, "I got to go again." Boss says, I guess. So what do you do, right? So he left and went to court. Got here, went through all the hassle getting here, all the stuff he had to do, spent the money, flew here. And remember, this cost him a fortune. So I got in front of the judge, and the judge sat him down and said, "Okay, Ralphie, you're going to be here as kind of like the mediator." And so, "Yeah, I'll be here as a mediator." So Ralphie started it out and talking. And the judge says, "Okay, I see the cases. Here's her case," with her reply to the comments that he said in his reply back. So they had a couple of comments back and forth on he said, she said. So the land is in her name and the house is in his name. And she did not know when she signed the documents, that means that the house is his, no matter what above the ground, and the land is hers, no matter what she's paid on. Now she fronted other money into that. So what happened was, she said, I'm not giving up my house. And the judge says, you have no choice in this. This is how we're going to do this. And so Ralphie says, yeah, we're going to do it this way. Because she was adamant. She was kind of getting defensive and kind of yelling and everything. And Joe was just distraught and distressed. Of 3 years and the kids. And Joe asked about the kids and how's the kids. And she says, they don't want to see you. And little did he know they were outside in over by a park playing. He didn't know that till after, but there's another story I'll add on to this later. So the house and lot, he says, I see you own a house and lot. Where are the rings? The judge asked. And she says, what rings? The wedding bands. Here's the receipt for the wedding bands that he purchased this in the U.S. He said he gave them to you. Oh, no, he gave me no rings. Rafi says, I talked to the mother and father. He proposed in front of you and gave you the rings. So do you want to revisit that? I have a statement from your mother and father. And, Ralphie did his due diligence. Believe me, he has his people. So come to find out, those rings. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Now, I have them in my purse. So she pulls them out of her purse and hands them to her ex-boyfriend. And she says, those are really mine. And he said, I need to ask you another question. Joe said, can I ask her a question? He says, yes. So they asked her a question. Are you married? Did you get married last month? I heard through some family members that you got married last month. What? Ralphie says, yes, she got married last month too, and said the name. And she says, how do you guys know? Ralphie says, I know a lot more, but you did get married. You did marry this guy. And you are married. And you use those rings on your finger to get married of his wedding band. And so she didn't say anything. He says, okay, you have the rings. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take the property and the land. We're going to sell it. You're going to split the money. You're going to pay him back $1,000 cash for the money he gave you when he put in the house and the lot. Now, the property you're going to sell, we're going to have it done. Rafi's going to be in charge of this. We're going to sell the property. Then you're actually going to pay him another $2,000 out of your money. So you owe him $3,000. Because, as he stated, that you did not acknowledge that he's given you money, but we have receipts here from your parents, receipts that you left laying around that you bought all kinds of other stuff for money that he gave you to do this, right? For the house, yes. Well, we're going to split it. You're going to pay that money back. You'll pay $3,000 back. If there's not enough funds to pay it after you pay all this and he gets his money back, if there's not enough funds to pay this, you're going to have to pay it back. You're going to have to find a loan. We'll give you utang, but you're going to have to pay it back. Well, she went out of the room, stomping, crying, and everything else. Judge had, of course, the police there and had her brought back in and said, this is what we're going to do. Don't ever stomp out of here again or you're going to put you in jail. And number two is this is the way it's going to be. So the judge says, okay, that's the way it is. So as the story goes is this. It was signed, it was done, everybody was fine, they shook hands, Ralphie shook hands with him and everything else. As he's leaving, he saw the kids playing across over in the park, like where the trees are where they had parking. So he went over and saw the kids. And, of course, the gentleman that the new husband was there. And they ended up chatting for a few minutes and told him, said, listen, I don't have anything against you, but I have to ask you one question and I'll leave. Can I ask you one question? The guy understood him a little bit in English, had a problem with English. But one of Ralphie's assistants was there, could speak English and Visaya. And he asked him straight on, he says, um, when did you meet my uh, girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend? When did you guys meet? Was the whole time? And what was, because she was still inside the building doing whatever, arguing. And he says, we met about 6 months after that she met you. And said, so the money I've been sending the whole time. He said, yes, the whole month, all the money we've been spending ourselves for whatever. And the hospital, the son was not in the hospital. The son was never in the hospital. And the money you sent for the hospital was not, it was fake. And so that 400 or 20,000 peso you sent for the son being in the hospital was fake. So I lost that money too. He goes, yes. He says, well, I wish you luck. If she did this to me, she's going to do it to you. So good luck in your life, and I'll see you later. Well, that's the last they heard of anything. That's the last of the whole story. Apparently, they did sell the property. They did put it up for sale. What the value was that property, and they did sell the property. And from what Joe told me, he got some of his money back. He didn't get it all back, but he got a pleasure in knowing that it got resolved. And he wanted to thank everybody and how wonderful they were here in the Philippines and how wonderful they treated him and how respectful everybody was and how such a wonderful culture. And at least he got some of his money back. He didn't get all his money back, of course. The land did go for the value. Still didn't have enough money, but she found the money through this other guy. I guess he had a job or something. Anyway, they found the money to pay him back the money that was due. So he got most, most of, not all of it, some of it. So I want to thank everybody for always watching. I want to thank everybody for always coming on, and I'll see you guys next time.